Dr. Jim Palermo, Zoom meeting July 5th, 6 o'clock in Pittsburgh, and wicked bad thunderstorm. So if we get cut off, probably a storm. Let's see. It is week 8, and as far as assignments that are due, it's Aptel E this week, but I want to think a little bit and talk a little bit about this one. No, wrong, sorry. SIAP A and B. The School Improvement Action Plan, Parts A and B, comprise something that we in Wake County used to call the Comprehensive Needs Assessment, the first step, the first stage in gathering data for the school improvement process. So something I've added to week 9, and I wanted to point out here, if you tune in or happen to watch this later, is a handout that I picked up from Wake County Schools. Not to say that Wake County is bigger, it is bigger, but not necessarily better than any other place. They have a few of these processes down pat, and it required using a comprehensive needs assessment or analysis as the first step in the continuous improvement cycle of school improvement. So while you're gathering data for the SIAP A and B, take a look at this document and think a little bit about it in terms of the data analysis and root causes and stuff too. But you're going to look in your SIAP A at student achievement data, discipline data. Maybe if your school has PBIS, that'll be easy to get your hands on. Actually, here's what I want to say about that. If you're involved in the school improvement process, or if you can get access to the data that the school improvement leadership team, school improvement team, whatever you call it at your school, the data that they use to write the school improvement plan, it's likely the type of stuff that you're going to gather for your SIAP A and B. Hello, Matthew. How doing? Hey, Matt. So far, it's you and I.
How are you?
Good, good. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Good, good. Wanted to have this open session again. I'm not sure whether you were able to tune in last week, but want to just try to have an open forum to answer questions and talk about stuff. Was going on a little bit here and recorded some stuff about the SIAP, the project number 6, A and B, the SIAP, the School Improvement Action Plan. You feel like you have a handle on that, where what that's going to be asking of you next week?
So far, I started the Part B today. I finished Part A last week and got a pretty good ways on Part B completed. So I was just stopping in to kind of listen in on everything that was going on.
All right.
I didn't miss anything.
Well, I'll get back to rambling about the School Improvement Action Plan if you want, and interrupt me or jump in whenever you want.
Okay.
Cool. Again, in my mind, APSL, your number 1 project, is a mini school improvement project, and SIAP number 6 is the maxi school improvement project. But I think gathering the data for the SIAP A and B is really pretty easy if you can plug into the school improvement. Are you involved in school improvement at your school, Matt?
I have been some this summer. I've been going to my school every Tuesday to get some internship hours, so the principal has started to involve me in those processes. It'll be more so in August.
Okay. Well, you say you've already written SIAP A. B is the kind of data that you pulled together for A, disaggregated. And in terms of the school achievement data, that ought to be pretty easy because it should come to you disaggregated by gender and race and ethnicity and stuff. So was that the case? Were you able to get your hands on the data you need?
The data I'm using is from the other school I was at last year. I was split between two schools, so I was doing the SciApp on the school I'm no longer at, but he did share the data with me. So I got my hands on all of that to be able to complete that assignment.
Good. Listen, talk to me about your internship hours. What kind of stuff does the principal have you doing at school summer?
Last couple of weeks, we've been discarding old textbooks. And because we have to write everything down and the county office has to approve it before we can throw them out. So it's been a lot of busy work, but they told me in August is when the actual, the more school improvement work will take place.
Okay. And if you look ahead in SciApp, well, A is Maxi data, B is disaggregated data, C is the TWC, which I think you should have already done or have your hands on the teacher working conditions stuff. SciApp D is a focus group. So if you're involved in school improvement at the beginning of the year, typically they sit and look at the latest data and say, well, we've got these 12 great goals that we want, but this year we're going to focus on these 3 things. And that's pretty much your SciApp D, the focus group project. So if you can tie in with them in August, that'll help you write that piece that'll come later.
Okay.
Yeah. So you're switching schools, and you probably told me that already. I forgot. You're able to continue working on that SciApp from the data at the old school, or are you going to switch?
I'm going to finish the SciApp from my old school and probably the Artifact 5. Since I've already did A, B, C, and D of that,
Yeah.
I'll probably finish that at the same school. See, I'm just at one of the schools that I was at last year. It's not really a move. I'm just not going to be at that one school anymore.
Right. Well, good. I'm glad you're able to use the data then and continue. Sometimes when folks switch jobs or change, it makes it hard, the continuity with the projects, but good for you. What else is happening, man? How are you doing?
I'm doing good. So far, the principal did let me make the special schedule, so I got to write that down for internship hours. And
Cool.
Throughout the year, due to being split between 2 schools, one day out of the week we had something called extra PE because it's just the way the schedules worked out. I didn't exactly fit in because I was half time at that school, so. That was 4 or 5 times throughout the year I'd get to create the extra PE schedule and talk to the teachers and, get to communicate a little bit what their schedule looks like. So I think that's going to help out once, get an administrative position.
It definitely is. Here's another connection for you. In the fall in 603, OMA D is writing schedule. And though the description sounds like in an ideal world, you would write the master schedule for the school, I know that's not realistic and most folks don't have that opportunity. But if you wrote, you said the special ed schedule or helped with that?
Like PE and art and music, we call them all special.
Yeah. Specials. You should document that, man, and include that. Look ahead into OMA D. And you're going to be writing that up in the fall, so gather your stuff from your special schedule and include that, please. You getting any vacation time in?
Sir?
Are you having any vacation time?
A little bit here and there. My family owns a business, so during the summertime I work there, and actually work longer hours in the summer than I do during the school year.
Well, I remember what it's like to be young and hungry and ready to work second and third jobs. Good for you. I hope as you move into administration that's less necessary, the summer job and the extra work. But good luck to you.
Are you having a vacation or a nice?
Oh, yeah, some long weekends, and we had a week at Topsail back at Memorial Day, so I've gotten my good break in.
Did you say Topsail?
Yeah, we were there for a week at Memorial Day. That's one of our favorite beaches.
We had a place there a few years back. That's where we always go as well.
Hmm.
It's nice, laid back community. It's not as busy as some of the other ones.
Yeah. What other questions might you have about artifacts or about the work for the MELS program?
I was kind of, since I'm finishing up the SIAP A and B, I
Hmm.
was thinking about maybe moving on into that. I think it's Artifact 4 is the one we'll be doing in 603.
Uh-huh.
Is that a good idea to go ahead and move on ahead?
Sure. It can't work. It can't hurt. And again, one of the things that you want to do is at least one of the points of that strategic planning document was to get you thinking about future semesters and the work that's going to have to be done later. But yeah, let me pull up OMA and look at it. I can. That'll take a while. um, yeah, OMA, or organizational management analysis. Number 4 is something that you could get started on now. Part A is gathering a bunch of data. Why can't I make you go away? Gathering a bunch of data for an analysis of the school as a whole, and then if I can get there. Well, part D, as I said, is a schedule, and that's something that you could get started on now too. But let's see. Contextual analysis, you could get started on that, gathering some of the data for your school. Instructional capacity building. In a perfect world, you're going to lead some staff development, professional development there. So I hope you could do that. This part C, assessing services for special populations. Um, in a large part, you can do that by interviewing the chairperson or the department chair for special education at your school. And then, and special pops does also mean AG and ESL and ELL or all those other folk, but sit down and find out something about how the department chair or the director of special education goes about creating a schedule that meets the needs for the kids. And that's part C. And then again, this building schedule, part D. If you had your hands in writing how the specials will work for your school this year, document that. That is again a big part of OMA D. So yeah, to answer your question, you should get started on some of that now.
And my principal has told me that when she begins to, fix the schedule, she has to hire a couple more teachers, and then she's going to set the schedule in stone. I think she's going to let me be in on that process, so that should help out a lot with that artifact.
It really does. It will help out a lot, and I think that's a great thing if your principal's ready to do that. Good. Not everybody has as much cooperation from their principal, unfortunately.
I've been fortunate, especially having the switch in the middle of the program of which school I'm doing the intern work at.
Mm-hmm.
They both have been awesome.
Good. Good. That's a good experience. So yes, if you're not already busy enough between your graduate work and your job and your family, yeah, look ahead to the fall. But well, good luck with that too. What else is happening, Matt?
And not a whole lot. If you want to keep explaining what you were recording earlier, I can listen in on that. Or
I said what I needed to about that stuff. Talk to me about the peer review process and the Zoom thing. Do you feel that that the peer review process is helpful?
I do. I've been working with Shannon Simmons this semester, and
Mm-hmm.
she's been great about getting work in on time. And we did the Zooms up until the Aptel D. I know last week in our Zoom video, you said as long as we had one Zoom, that would be proficient. And so we didn't Zoom last week, but we just agreed if we saw a major problem with each other's work, we would Zoom in that
Okay.
situation and explain it. It helps to clarify, but so far with her and I, this went very smoothly. Both semesters, 601 and 602, I've had someone in our Zoom group that doesn't like to submit work in a timely manner, and that's made it a little difficult because in 601 we had team leaders and I was the team leader, so I had to kind of work on a schedule to get everyone on the same page, and it made it a little tough. And I'd have to talk with Dr. Neal and get extended time for the classmate that was falling behind, and
Mm-hmm.
that was a little more work, but it helped out in the end, and it was nice to get to know everyone in the cohort. I think it was a good process for 601, but once we know everyone, we know who gives us like a reliable peer review and everything. And
Mm-hmm. Hmm. What else could or would you do to try to build that cohort cohesion online? Any ideas?
I think the Zoom definitely works for 601. Maybe if we, instead of zooming about the artifacts all the time, if we did like a discussion board
Hmm.
Zoom, instead of writing it up, just posting the link. That is if everyone has time to meet. I know summertime it's a little easier for everyone to meet, and in the school year everybody's a little more busy, and it's I'm not married or anything. I know it's tough for people who are married and have kids to find the time to be able to Zoom.
Um, the online platform is designed for those folks who are married and have kids and jobs and busy schedules. So I'm trying to think about the best way to uh, build cohesion, build that cohort support, and yeah, I think the peer-to-peer support in some way. You said you find out who's giving you reliable or good feedback. Uh, that's valuable, and you reach out to that person again, and that builds the cohesion. But again, how do we um, make it reliable, good feedback? I don't know.
It's it's hard. I know it's you just have to rely on someone to do honest work and
Mhm.
to put in the time and the effort. And I know there's one person in our cohort. We haven't been in the same Zoom group either semester, but we email back and forth almost daily, and we share our artifacts, and he'll look over mine, I'll look over his, and we do the peer review process before we even submit for peer review.
You see, I'd like to figure out how to tap that, man. How to make networks of people, like-minded people who want to work together, and then we wouldn't need an artificial process on top of it.
In the first Zoom of 601, it's Jake Doster,
Yeah.
and him and I were both PE teachers, and we got to talking a little bit about PE and what he does at his school and what I do at my school, and we've kept on talking about these artifacts ever since. And
You see,
that's
and that's helped you and kept you involved and active in the program. Other folks fall by the wayside, and it's because, in part, they don't have that support from a peer, I think.
but I think it would be very helpful if there is a way to get that going for everyone.
Mm-hmm. And you said the connection for y'all was PE.
Yes, sir. We
Yeah.
just kind of started asking questions in the beginning there, and he's been a lot of help to me because sometimes I'll read a description for an artifact and I'll be completely lost, and he'll give me an example of what he's doing for that artifact, and then that flips the light switch, and I can go on and work from there.
Sure. That makes sense. Well, Jake, or you're Matt. Matt, I really appreciate your feedback on that, and I'm going to be taking that to Dr. Neal too. You know, he's redesigning the program and trying to make it better. And I like Zoom, but I think must be some ways to improve the quality of the feedback for everyone, or must be other ways. Maybe we do a survey in the beginning of the program and find out, you know, who has taught like subjects or has like hobbies or something. The way they pair up roommates when you're freshman year, I don't know. But there must be some way to improve that peer process.
And the videos that you do every week have helped out a lot. I know with 601, we didn't have any weekly videos. And so I've never really seen who Dr. Neal is.
Oh, okay.
And so it's nice watching the videos. I watch them every week, and sometimes I watch them 2 or 3 times as I go through the assignments, and that helps.
Well, thank you for that feedback, Matt. I try to keep them brief because I hope that if there's meaningful stuff in there, you will watch it again or rewind and say, well, what did he say? What? And I appreciate that feedback. I'll try to keep them brief and meaty and meaningful.
I really appreciate you doing that. That's
okay.
A big help.
Well, in the same vein, I'm going to try to keep this brief, Matt. Do you have any other questions or concerns or issues?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
I was really just stopping in. I thought someone else may ask a question that may arise later on. So I was just really listening in.
Yeah, and if I'm correct, it's you and I, right? You don't see anybody else, right?
I don't see anyone else.
No. So I'm going to stop recording and cut it off. And thank you, Matt. And if you don't have anything else, I'll do this again later.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Take it easy.
You too.
Bye.